Well, welcome back, Air Gunners. This is Zach from the Shooter Zone, where we are always staying on target. Well, here I have the AirForce Talon P, and I've had it for about, coming up on, I think, on 7 months. And this thing's been a really good shooter for such a short-barreled rifle. So I just wanted to extend how many shots I can get out of it. So I replaced the bottle just a few days ago with a 23 cubic inch bottle, and got quite a few more shots out of it. I was getting probably anywhere between 25 and 30 shots. That's on power level number 4, and much happier with that. On top we have also the AirForce 3x9x50 scope and the AirForce suppressor on here as well. So today I'm just going to put about 10 shots through this on a little 2-inch gong. You guys should be familiar with that 2-inch gong for now. Or by now. We're at 40 yards as usual, and I have the chronograph set up, so we're going to try to get a few numbers off of that if I have everything aligned properly, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we're going to be shooting one of my favorites again, the rifle ammunition round field pellets in 26.83 grains. These things have been real shooters for me, so I'm really happy with them, and I've been shooting them a lot lately. Alright, so let's do this. We're gonna put about 10 rounds through this, and we're gonna see what we have. What I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna take this first shot and I'm just gonna dump it somewhere, because I like getting rid of the first shot. I think it's always something that seems to be beneficial, so I'm just going to do that. I'll tell you what, I'll take a shot at the big gong, and then we're going to be shooting at the gong on the right. Alright, there's the first one out of the way. .800 feet per second was the first one. This should be a little bit more stable for a little bit longer, being that this is not a regulated carbine. .802. .834. Again, that's one of the reasons why I like getting rid of the first shot. Kind of gets to a point where it's a little bit more stable. .811. Then when you're shooting, I like to take my time. I'm in no rush. I just want to have some fun and enjoy myself. .837. .850. So we're climbing, obviously, in feet per second. Again, that's typical with an unregulated air rifle. .853. Looks like we got 4 left. Now we're going to check to see what PSI the tank has in it still. .867. I mean, it's a pretty good spread, but still seems to be holding on target very well. 866. $8.74. This is the last one. $8.75. So we're still climbing a little bit in FPS after 10 shots. And we have about 2,500 PSI left in it. So I'll tell you what. Why not? We got time. Let's do 10 more. Might as well use some more of this up. Alright. So far, all shots on target. That's always a plus. I probably messed up my alignment with my chronograph, but let's see. I mean, you can see how the shots were climbing just a little bit as the feet per second was going up. 883. I compensated a little bit on that. And I probably shouldn't have. We may have gone over the 2-inch gong at this point. I'm not exactly sure, but I'm going to aim a little bit lower. Yep. I think I hit a little bit. Could have been a little bit low. I may have been overcompensating too much. Let me give it another try here. That was 882. Alright, there we go. Yeah, I was overcompensating. That's what I get. That's what I get for thinking that I'm smarter than the rifle. 888. $8.84. I can't load those backwards. Well, I don't know what happened to that one. 889. So again, we're climbing still. $887. That I compensated and did shoot just a little bit lower. I think I was going a tad high and left on that from what I could see. Again, part of shooting is getting to know what your rifle is going to do, especially on PCPs. What's it going to do at different PSI levels? $882. $880. It seems to be really stabilizing now over these last 12 shots or so. Once we got up into the 880s. $875. So that one dropped just a tad. And we are just a hair over 2,000 psi in the tank right now. So we got 20 good shots off on power level 4. Again, I think once we got up to that 870 to 880 range, things really started to level out. That probably happened somewhere around 2,600 psi, and now we're just at about 2,600 psi. Now we're about 2,200 psi. Trying to keep my psi and my feet per second straight here. So you could see that window there where we had probably a really good 10 to 12 shots in the 880s, nice and stable. So that gives me some good information for the future. And again, it's all about knowing your air rifle, because they're all different, you know, and knowing what they'll do with what pellet and what PSI in the tank, and, you know, just kind of configuring all that information and keeping track of it. If you have a lot of air guns, you know, as I'm starting to have, it's good to keep a little notebook around just to kind of, you know, keep writing down exactly what you're doing, so this way, you know, the next time you pull it out, which may not be for a couple months, you don't have to relearn everything. You know, you got it written down, you know what to do. You take a couple test shots just to make sure that you're still hitting in the same spot, or fine tune it just a little bit on the scope to get it back just where it needs to be, and then you're good to go. And I always recommend, you know, once you start finding something that works as far as PSI and pellets and all that kind of stuff, to try to stick to the same pellet, you know, stick within the same PSI range, you know, pellet or two, you know, just, you know, you don't want to be running 5 different brands of pellets through there every single time you're using it, and then, you know, you're having to compensate or adjust your scope, you know, 10 clicks each way every time you change to another pellet, which happens often. You know, find out what works and stick to it. I think that's the best. It's always good to try new things, but, you know, again, if it's working, it's working. You know, you don't want to go too crazy and mess things up, that's for sure. Well, all right, so as far as this tank, I'm loving it. Same valve that was in there, so it's a stock valve. I couldn't get the valve off, so I sent it to my friend over at Chad, excuse me, I don't know, I got a little brain fart there. Over at Lethal Air, that's what I was trying to remember, Lethal Air, Chad. We shoot together every once in a while. He holds his competition in Northern Virginia, usually once a month. It's a fun event. Check out Lethal Air if you're in the area of kind of Northern Virginia, and find out time and a place for those. But I didn't really have the tools to remove that, and I'm sure that's something I need to get and have on hand for the future. So I sent it over to him. He removed the stock bottle, put on the new bottle, and also kept it for a day or two, make sure that it didn't leak down at all, and then sent it back to me. So thank you, Chad, for that. And that's it for today, I think. Again, these are great rifles. I love this Talon P. I think it's a lot of fun. Is it as accurate as a barrel that's 2 or 3 times as long? Well, of course not. It's a carbine, so carbines are typically made for kind of closer distances, and that's 40 yards. And again, if you know where the gun is shooting, at what PSI, I mean, if you're hunting rabbits and squirrel and raccoons and things like that, 40 yards, 50 yards, I mean, it's not going to be a problem. And if you're, you know, humping it through the woods, all the better. You know, long rifles, you get them tangled up in branches and everything else, and sometimes it's nice just to have something compact to go into the woods and do a little hunting, and not have to worry about lugging something huge around with you everywhere you go. Of course, you know, if you're hunting big game, that's a different story. You know, you need a bigger rifle for that. Longer barrel, so this way you can stay on target at longer distances. Also, longer barrels will typically increase the feet per second that you're shooting, and that's a must, because when you shoot at faster FPSs, that means you're going to have greater FPEs, and that just means you're going to take down bigger game a lot easier. So keep that in mind. Alright, well, if you haven't liked this page yet, please click below and like this page. If you haven't gone to our Facebook page, The Shooter Zone on Facebook, go there and like that as well. And we should have something coming up here again soon. I know something is in the mail for me. Hopefully we'll get that sometime next week and come back. I think it's going to be an oldie but a goodie. But we're going to put a little bit different spin on this one. I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but stay tuned for that. Alright, so till the next time, be safe, shoot lots, and we'll see you again soon. Take care now.